All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have another shill article. It is wild. What is happening out there with Assassin's Creed Shadows, where now you have the gamer joining in on lying about how many sales Assassin's Creed Shadows actually has. I think it's amazing that these people that claim everybody else are liars, grifters, whatever the case may be, are out here writing articles trying to convince people that Assassin's Creed Shadows has surpassed 2 million copies sold. Meanwhile, there is not a single statement out there that has claimed that. There is not a single statement out there that has said that. And yet they're writing articles telling people that that is exactly what has happened, as if it's the truth, and then calling you a grifter when you call it out. It's absolute insanity, ladies and gentlemen. And I figured I had to share it with you because, like I said, as I'm going through the day and reading through articles and trying to find stories to talk about that are important, I come across stuff like this and I'm like, there's no way I can't talk about this. So let's get into this article from the gamer. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. Assassin's Creed Shadows took 3 days to outperform Star Wars Outlaws in one key area. Bro, why are we comparing to Star Wars Outlaws? Why are we comparing it to a game that massively flopped? Like, what do you even care if it outperforms Star Wars Outlaws? It should outperform Star Wars Outlaws. Assassin's Creed as a franchise to gamers is way more popular. I feel like at this point, if it didn't outperform Star Wars Outlaws, you would have a major problem on your hands. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to get any little comparison that they possibly can to try to make Shadows look like a win. There is so much cope happening with this video game. It's astronomical. I think there's more cope happening with Shadows than there is with Dragon Age the Veilguard. I'm telling you. And that's crazy to me, considering that Veilguard was focused on trans ideology, which is way more important to them than black people are. But yet it's still as if Shadows is just so unbelievably cope-filled. So it says Assassin's Creed Shadows is already outperforming Star Wars Outlaws. The new game has sold more physical copies in 3 days than Outlaws sold in 3 months. Ubisoft has confirmed Shadows has sold 2 million copies in all forms across all platforms. Where's the proof? Where's the proof of that? The gamer, again, where is the proof of that, dude? Are we just going to flat out say shit, not even have to prove it? It has not sold 2 million copies in all forms across all platforms. That is not true. That was never said. You guys are coping, massively coping. It's been pretty evident by the build of Assassin's Creed Shadows and the missteps that have come before it that Ubisoft is banking on its newest game being a mega hit. So far, it looks like Shadows really could be the studio's saving grace. It's not. It's not going to be the studio's saving grace. Do you understand how much money they invested into this video game? Do you understand the amount of people that were working on this game? Almost 3,000 people are credited on Assassin's Creed Shadows. That is insanity. Do you understand that that comes with a massive amount of money invested? There is no way that Assassin's Creed Shadows is a mega hit, number one. And number two, even if it was, there is no way that the numbers that it's at now is going to save this studio. It is impossible. Evidenced by a direct comparison of its physical sales to how Star Wars Outlaws performed. So, wait a second. Hold on. The Gamer and other websites like The Gamer are the first ones to tell you that physical sales don't matter when you are trying to talk about overall copies sold. And when you bring up those numbers, it's problematic. They say it doesn't matter. But now that they are looking for any win that they possibly can, now you're trying to pretend as if physical sales matter because Shadows did more physical sales than Outlaws. Now it's a win. Bro, you guys got to pick your lane, man. Industry analyst Christopher Dring has shared some early notes on how Shadows performed so far, and it's looking very good for the latest Assassin's Creed game. The biggest takeaway from Dring's notes is that Shadows in the first 3 days, the new game has sold more physical copies than Star Wars Outlaws managed in its first 3 months. Despite the difference in time frames and this being physical sales only, no matter how you frame it, this is a huge win for Ubisoft and Shadows. Not to mention another damning blow for Outlaws when it's already down and almost certainly never getting back up. Bro, imagine using Star Wars Outlaws. Imagine kicking Star Wars Outlaws while it's down in order to prop up Shadows in any way you possibly can. You are choosing to attack a game that is already dead just to try to make Shadows look better. This is fucking weak. The exact numbers aren't clear, but it's one of the many indicators that Shadows has hit the ground running. You know what's funny? So this article is going to spend its entire time telling you how amazing the game is selling, but then they're going to keep telling you that the exact numbers aren't clear. So you don't have the numbers at all. Like, you don't have the exact numbers in the slightest, but then you try to convince people that the game has sold over 2 million copies. Again, where is the proof? Please provide the proof in a screenshot, something in this article that this game has sold over 2 million copies. Please, I will wait. I will wait, but it has to be dated from yesterday, and before that, or today. I'll even give you today. It has to be dated from today all the way back till when the game first came out. You can't come back 2 months later and be like, well, here's the proof. It sold over 2 million. No. You guys said it now. You guys said it today. So where is the proof that the game sold 2 million copies? You don't have any. There is zero proof that the game sold 2 million copies. You are taking the typical players engaged metric and you're trying to pass it off to your readers as it's sales, and it's not sales in the slightest. Assassin's Creed Shadows is already outperforming Outlaws. It sold more physical copies in 3 days. Even better for Shadows is it has enjoyed the biggest physical launch in the UK so far this year. Bro, you guys went to the UK because you didn't want to go to the US. How is it doing in the US where it's primarily being sold? Where is it rank in the US chart? It might only be March, but this year has included Monster Hunter Wilds, which enjoyed a mammoth launch, hitting almost 1.4 million concurrent players on Steam during its opening weekend. Comparing Steam numbers to physical sales isn't an exact science, but more people buying physical copies of Shadows than Wilds during its opening weekend is a good sign that the new Assassin's Creed game has been exactly what Ubisoft needed it to be so far. Bro, these people are trying to make it seem as if Assassin's Creed Shadows is in the same league as Monster Hunter Wilds, my guy. Bro, Monster Hunter Wilds, most people that bought that game physically were already buying the game. Like, oh my God, dude. How are you trying to compare a video game that has 1.4 million concurrent players against a video game that barely cracked 60,000 concurrent players and trying to make it seem as if Shadows is hanging in the same group? What are we doing? Are we seriously trying to cope this bad that you're just flat out fucking lying to people? The only downside shared by Dring is that despite outperforming Wilds and Outlaws, Shadow fell short of beating Assassin's Creed Valhalla's physical launch sales. Again, no exact numbers, but Dring notes Shadows is well short of Valhalla with all the appropriate caveats applied. Valhalla has sold somewhere between 12 and 15 million copies at last count. I imagine Ubisoft would probably be over the moon with even half of that for Shadows. Dude, Assassin's Creed Valhalla sold 12 to 15 million copies, but it wasn't at launch, okay? This is the problem. These guys take games that have been out for years, that have dragged itself through the mud with multiple sales that are, deep sales. We're talking like 80% off, 90% off. So, of course, these games eventually sell 12 to 15 million copies because they are mega discounted for the majority of its existence. And then when you take that and you realize that, okay, 12 to 15 million copies, but maybe 2 or 3 million of them were at full price, maybe if you're lucky. And then the rest was just at $9, $8, whatever the hell it was. Is that really a win? You're dragging your feet past the finish line. But of course, it makes it look better, right? It makes it look good. And you could say, oh, look, the game sold 15 million copies. What a major hit, right? That's what they want. They want to simplify the numbers so that people who don't question things just eat up the comments like, oh, this is so true. It's amazing. It's absolute bullshit, ladies and gentlemen. At the end of the day, man, they are flat out. Look at this. Now a Yasuke news adventure hitting the goal seems likely based on its early success and how many people have been confirmed to be playing it during its launch weekend. Ubisoft has confirmed Shadows has been played by 2 million people across all platforms, whether they picked up the game digitally or physically during its release weekend. That's not true. That is not true. That is not a number that is only including digital sales and physical sales. It is a number that is also including Ubisoft Plus subscription players, where the majority of people are playing the game. The gamer's fucking lying to you, bro. They're lying to you and you're telling you that it's 2 million sales, digital and physical. That is not true. It is 2 million players engaged. And I don't know if these people are just fucking stupid or whatever the case may be, but I gotta imagine they're not stupid. I gotta imagine that they know exactly what they're doing, right? Josh Colson, the editor over at The Gamer, I gotta imagine you must know what you are doing and you're purposely doing it, right? I don't want to believe that you are this stupid. I want to believe that you are purposely doing this and you are doing it because you ideologically need this game to succeed and you are either paid by Ubisoft or you just really want to, for your own personal gain, make this game look like a success because obviously it's going to own the chuds, right? But at the end of the day, man, I cannot wait. I can't wait for the investors call from Ubisoft that is inevitably going to have to explain how Assassin's Creed Shadows underperformed expectations and is slowly crawling its way to any sort of sold copies. This game is absolutely pathetic, and you guys are pathetic for constantly having to lie about the 2 million player metric and try to pass it off as sales to people who will never question you or never question that metric whatsoever. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I will greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.